Hello, I am Kiki. This is Kiki's Tarot Cafe. I basically do, so far I'm doing tarot card readings because that's what I'm comfortable with, but I hope to become a better witch and hopefully share some of my advice on that with you guys. I actually received a dragon message myself from a different dragon, and it said that I want to teach people things, but I haven't even really mastered them myself. So I'm trying not to get preachy before I really understand, you know, certain things. But tarot is something I'm comfortable with, so you will probably see a lot of tarot videos in the beginning. I hope that these messages, you know, resonate with you and that you can use them, even if you don't believe in dragons. Hopefully you can use them as a form of self-reflection, or maybe there's still a message in here that your spirit guide would point to, regardless of whether or not you know, interact or believe with in dragons. But yeah, so go ahead and select your piles, and I will see you at your pile. So if your pile number 1, you selected I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I think it's Avery Matriarch. She is basically the dragon that tells you it's time to heal ancestral stuff, and maybe particularly female ancestors. And then the card to pay attention to is the 2 of Hearts, which speaks about relationships, whether that be romantic or otherwise. It could even be like parent-child. I wanted to read, I hate reading from the book, honestly, but there's actually specific quotes that the creator of this deck indicated. I believe that while they were in meditation, they received these messages, and so I don't want to like skew or leave anything out of what this specific dragon wanted to say, so I'm just gonna read the quote and then we will move on. If I can find her number. Okay, her quote says, "The time has come to release the chains that bind the continued pain from your ancestors, which has been passed down from generation to generation. You do not need to own this, as it is not and never was your pain to bear." So it's possible that you're experiencing a lot of sorrow or distress based on things that aren't even yours, or maybe, you know, you had a traumatic childhood where your parents, you know, might have been abusive or toxic, and that's because their parents were abusive and toxic. So it's kind of like a cycle, and you're being asked essentially to reflect not only on your parents but your ancestors. That I want to say it's specifically the females because it says matriarch, but just in general to reflect on, you know, your ancestors and the trauma. I think it's literally called ancestral trauma. It's a lot of shadow work. So and these can have curse words in them, but I'm just gonna read them without it. Stop texting, stop stalking, stop checking on that person, just stop. Spend your time on someone who's worth it. Don't waste it on ridiculousness. So again, with the relationships, like maybe you're giving yourself too much to people who don't really care about you. Especially with stop stalking, I just think of like internet stalking. Like, hopefully you're not actually stalking, and if you are actually stalking, like, please get help or please stop. But just like constantly like checking someone, even if it's stop checking on that person, like maybe you're checking your phone saying if they're texting you back and they're probably not, so it's kind of like telling you there's people that are like not worth your time or who don't care about you, and you're just kind of wasting a lot of energy on it, and they're asking you to stop. And then you also received rebel, which is interesting given the ancestral message because F it. Because why not? Rebel. So kind of like, I get the message that like, like rebel against, you know, the cycles that have been happening over and over in your ancestral trauma. So we have the Fool in reverse. I hope you guys can still see the cards. I'm not sure with the stand, it kind of blocks the phone's view. So you have the Fool in reverse, the 5-7, the 7 of Wands in reverse, the Sun, the 10 of Cups, the Ace of Swords. Oh, you're that group that got extra cards. Alrighty. Okay, so I see the Fool in reverse is kind of like talking about taking adventures or like leaps of faith without having a well-established what do you call it? I don't know, kind of like jumping into something recklessly. And then the 7 of Wands indicates like a feeling of wanting to give up, but also it can be imposter syndrome. Which for those of you that don't know, it's kind of like when you earned a position, but then you feel like you didn't earn it, or you feel like you don't belong there, or you feel like, who am I to be doing this? Which could be regarding your ancestral work. Like, you kind of feel like, who am I to be healing all this family trauma? But it could also be speaking about something else. You can also be feeling defensive right now, maybe like you're under attack, and maybe that's part of your trauma. Like maybe this, these are indicating your past cards of like feeling like you were attacked for whatever reason. I also think of the Fool as a dreamer, so maybe you were being attacked over your dreams, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's a message for some of you. And it's funny because like I see you being happy. You have the Sun, and then you have the 10 of Cups, and they're not in reverse. So this is like a very happy, very joyful energy, like a happy family over here. So maybe you feel happy right now, and so you kind of don't want to do the shadow work that you have to do. You don't want to reflect on like, you know, all this negative stuff because you're kind of like enjoying the good things. It's also possible that, you know, you have a happy family now, and so you've kind of forgotten to do, like, there's still work to do in terms of like the trauma that you suffered, but just because like, you know, you're feeling happy with your family now, maybe you've ignored it. Like, I don't really have to deal with that, but like you do. Also, I see like a lack of mental clarity here with the Ace of Swords in reverse. I also see the World in reverse, which is indicating someone who's attempting to take shortcuts. So maybe you're trying to take a shortcut to happiness. You're like, you know what, I can just ignore everything that happened and then I can move on with my life. But you're not really, you know, healing. And this is what the 7 of Pentacles is about. It's talking about putting the work in, which you probably aren't doing, or you've kind of like taken a shortcut to avoid that. And maybe, yeah, you are happy, but I feel like it will only be temporary, and because problems are gonna arise due to the fact that you haven't dealt with whatever it was. And also, especially with this one, that's like, stop texting, stop chat. So like, even if you are happy, maybe you feel happy in a relationship, but like, clearly this person doesn't give a about you. If you're, you know, I don't know, stalking them, like, I just can't imagine them telling you that you're wasting your time on someone who's good for you, you know what I mean? So I feel like maybe you think, or you've convinced yourself, or you've taken the shortcut to like happiness, but it's not actual happiness, because you're dependent on this person who doesn't care. And you're attracting people who don't care because you haven't dealt with, you know, the wounds of your childhood. Spirituality. Okay. Trying to make sure it's still fitting on the screen. Open to infinite possibilities. I like that you got the starfish. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. So when I think of a starfish, I think of like the fact that you can cut their arms off. That sounds so creepy, I'm sorry. But their arms will grow back, right? Or their legs, whatever you call them, because I mean, technically, I guess it doesn't really matter for the point I'm making. The point is that you will cut them and they grow back. So it's kind of like, I think of, it says infinite possibilities, but I also think of infinite possibilities of like what you can become. Like, yes, you were wounded, but you can grow back from that. And maybe, I don't know, like, yeah, it's obviously it's not going to be easy. Think on your feet. Indecision. So, okay, I'm guessing the person who picked this pile is a spiritual person, but maybe not necessarily. I mean, you wouldn't be here if you weren't somewhat spiritual or curious, right? So you received, it says intuition here, and that says spirituality. So I feel like you're kind of being asked to do some spiritual work, or to look more into the spiritual side of shadow work. Judgment, I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Okay. So with that, I feel like just because you're, you know, fixing or trying to fix or trying to heal some ancestral trauma, it doesn't mean that, like, I'm picturing like you trying to take on too much. You don't have to, you know, fix everybody's trauma. You're not like your family's psychologist. Maybe you are, but you know what I mean. You're not there to like be everyone's mother to an extent. Like, you have your own path and they have their own problems to fix, but like at the same time, you can't ignore the fact that like there's been cycles that have caused you to be how you are. I use my intuition in all aspects of life. I see indecision about something, which is, the Ace of Swords can also indicate that, because like it's like a foggy mind. The Ace of Swords upright would be like clear decisions, clear thinking, but it's in reverse. I feel like there's some kind of choice you have to make, and you're kind of like, maybe you're fence sitting right now, but you're being asked to follow your heart. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know it sounds corny, but it's true. It says to use your intuition, and then to think on your feet. I feel like, especially with the Ace of Swords in reverse, it's just someone who's like, it kind of has a clouded mind right now. So I feel like the more you learn to trust your intuition, the more it almost becomes like instinct. Like, you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to you know, sometimes we confuse our ego and our intuition, and then we kind of go back and forth between like, well, what, you know, is really my heart and what is my mind, and so I get the feeling that like it'll become more of an instinct the more you practice it. And grace and generosity. So I see you being very graceful. You have two like really beautiful, very happy cards. I think you're wonderful. Hold on. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. Again, I see you being happy and graceful, but I feel like you're being asked, again, not to take the shortcut to deal with whatever this was. And so that you don't feel imposter syndrome. Maybe like in your childhood you were told that or you were made to feel like you didn't deserve things, and so now that, you know, you actually earn something, you still get that feeling that you don't deserve it. But I feel like after you, or like even during healing whatever the past, you know, happened to you specifically, I feel like you're being asked to still be nice about it. Which sucks, because like, you know, when you address all these crappy things that happened to you in childhood, you know, you kind of want to stay angry to an extent. But I feel like you're being asked like not to hold grudges and to forgive and to have grace, even though there was something, you know, that caused you to have issues. Yeah. That's all I can see right now. I hope that was helpful. I hope you experienced some kind of peace during your shadow work. Remember not to take shortcuts, and to stop stalking whoever you're stalking, please. If it was helpful, subscribe to the channel. I can't promise there will be witchy content soon, just because I don't want to start preaching before I've practiced, you know what I mean? But if you're into that, you know, you might want to consider that. But if not, whatever. Please leave a comment if this was helpful. Sometimes I feel like, you know, the imposter myself. Like, I don't even... just who am I to be telling people these spiritual messages? But, you know, if it actually is helpful, it helps motivate me to know that it actually resonated with someone. So let me know if it did, and I hope you have a nice day. On to group number 2. Hello, group number 2. If you selected unknowingly Dolphin, this is your pile, or your reading, I should say. And then for your double helix cards, you got the 8 of Hearts, which indicates someone who's looking after you. So before the reading begins, I personally don't like reading from the book, but each individual dragon has its own specific message. So the creator of the deck was, I'm pretty sure they contacted the dragon. It was either through like meditation or astral projection, but each dragon has its own quote, and so I don't want to like misconstrue that or, you know, misquote them. So I'm just gonna read the quote itself, and hopefully that resonates. Dolphin. Okay. So Dolphin is kind of like, you think of a dolphin, right? You see he has like the little fin in the water. He's very water based. I think they liken him to a dolphin. He's about oceans and the water and about choices. And so he asks you, what is your purpose on earth? And the waters of the earth can cleanse or maim. They can support or take life. You are also faced with a similar choice. You can choose to heal and be healed, or you can swim in the riptides. Neither is wrong. It is only a matter of perspective and choice. You have been faced with an arduous situation at times and made some bad choices too. Remember, you're a human, and as a human, you must... Oh, I'm sorry. And as humans must, your race makes mistakes. And on occasion, poor decisions. But that is all a part of learning. It is time to forgive yourself and others and to move on. And he also asks, what is your purpose on earth? So, yeah, he's about purposes, but he's also about choices, which is, I think is interesting because it's kind of saying like you're not predestined to do anything. You have the choice, and if you do make a mistake, like it's okay because that's an opportunity to learn and to kind of not beat yourself up about it. And he's kind of saying like, at least through my interpretation, it kind of feels like don't dwell on a mistake, learn from it, and then get back to your purpose. So you've pulled 3 of these. These have like curse words. I won't say them, or I'll replace them. That project, that person, that idea is awaiting. Get after that. The world has your back. Okay, so kind of like, I think of a creative who's kind of, well, it also says that person. It could be like a romantic interest or something, but it feels like you're kind of stepping away from it, or you've kind of left it on hold, and they're telling you like, hey, get back to your purpose. Yes, you made a mistake, but like your world is still waiting, get back to it. It says you equals a tight ass. Sorry. Loosen up, control freaks don't get laid. Well, I don't think it matters. Like, I don't know, the sassiness of this deck sometimes resonates, and other times I'm like, who cares if they don't get laid? Life is not about getting laid, but whatever. You know the point of the card. It's telling you to loosen up. Maybe you feel you have a lot of control over certain situations. Sorry if my hands look black. I dyed my hair today and my hands are a mess. Don't force it. So this also goes in like hand in hand with the control freak thing. Like maybe you're trying to force something. Allow that thing to come to you. So you kind of have like this control need over something, and that you're being asked not to force it. And maybe that's part of the project. You know, a lot of times people are like, oh, I'll do that project later when everything falls into place. And it's like, if you're waiting for everything to fall into place, if you're being a control freak waiting for, you know, every single piece to fall together, like it's never gonna happen. So don't force it, but just kind of like start the project, I guess, or get back to it, or the person. I really get the feeling it's a project though. We have the 6 of Cups, which is like nostalgia, but then it's immediately followed by the 10 of Swords. So I'm getting like bad memories is kind of the feeling I'm getting. It could also mean like you had good memories with whatever ended, because the 10 of Swords is ultimately about an ending that you didn't want to happen. And it can also be about feeling like you were stabbed in the back. But I feel like you still have a lot of good memories attached to whatever the situation that ended was. But you're kind of like living in the past over it. The Ace of Cups is creativity, but then it's automatically followed by death. So you see how like you have something positive and then it's followed by something negative, and something positive and followed by something negative. Well, death isn't necessarily negative. It's just like transformation, which we'll talk about in a minute. You feel stuck. Yeah, hella. Hella. So whatever like the situation was, you feel like you were, you know, it ended, you didn't want it to end, you feel negatively about that ending. It may have stifled your creativity. You're being asked to let go of whatever this was. Like, I feel like the death was almost inevitable, and maybe you knew that, like you knew the situation wouldn't last forever. And so it kind of came to town. You know, you look at this card, I'm not trying to upset anyone, but there's children in this card. There's, you know, a king. I think this is a pope. I'm not sure. He has some kind of like royalty hat. There's, you know, I think that's either like a mother or a virgin, but it's something like, it's basically saying like death waits for no one. Like this is gonna come whether you wanted it or not. And I think it was a part of your life purpose, because the major arcana, had it just been like the Ten of Swords, I would have been like, oh, that sucks, it's an event, you'll get over it. But the Ten of Swords, I mean the Death card, I'm sorry, is a major arcana card, so it indicates like that it was gonna happen anyway, in a way. Even though I don't believe in like fatality, I still think that there are fatality, what the hell? Fatalism. I still believe that there are certain parts that we've agreed to, you know, happen on this, in this lifetime. And so I feel like maybe this was a soul contract or something that you had going on. And so it ended inevitably, and now it's kind of stifled your creativity. You feel stuck. Because the Ten of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, oh my gosh, where is my mind right now? He's the only knight that's not charging into action. He's staying perfectly still, but it's in reverse, so you kind of feel like you can't get out of this energy. You feel like you're stuck in maybe whatever this Ten of Swords energy is. The Chariot is about like charging forward though, and it emphasizes your willpower. So maybe right now your willpower is kind of dead, like you're not feeling it, but it's telling you like to find that again. And the Chariot moves pretty quickly. It almost reminds me of the Eight of Wands. It's kind of like your willpower will take you where you need to go, and it'll probably happen really quickly, but no guarantees, you know, just it's still a matter of taking that first step. Especially with the Ace of Cups. The Ace is like the lowest card in the deck, you know, Ace, 2, 3, 4. So it's kind of like, even when you do take the first step, it's not going to be like hit the ground running, you know. It's okay to take baby steps, especially if you have control issues. It might be comfortable to like let go of things a piece at a time. The Magician in reverse, if you see him, he has everything. He has a wand, he has a cup, he has a pentacle, he has a sword. So he literally has like all the tools in the suits of cards, but the issue is that when it's in reverse, it's like you feel like you don't have everything you need. And maybe that's part of the, you know, controlling aspect. But yeah, it's here to remind you that you do have everything you need, and you need to stop freaking out about it. You need to stop worrying about like the perfect timing or whatever, and just kind of to like go for it. Hold on. Sorry about that. Your oracle cards. Trust in the magic. Okay. Sometimes life stays. Okay, resonating. It's interesting you got the whale. Considering you got dolphin. The whale indicates, or the whale song indicates a reminder of the creative self. So I feel like you're kind of lost in this energy of like stagnation, and also, you know, the sadness or the memories. And you're just being reminded like, hey, you have a purpose, you still have ish to do, you know what I mean? And so, you know, the water spirits have kind of come to remind you of this. You also receive surrender, which is funny because you're being told to let go. You're forcing it, you're kind of a control freak right now, and it's like, you need to, oh my god, oh my god. The same number keeps calling, and it won't leave a message. I'm like, go away. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't this reading, it interrupted the last reading, so I'm kind of peeved right now. Surrender, to release control. I'm sorry. For those of you that are more on the spiritual side, you know, they're saying like surrender certain parts of it to being a higher being, I should say. The Eight of Hearts can also indicate a guardian angel or like a spirit that's watching over you. So I feel like you have a lot of support on the other side. Yeah. And you're just kind of being asked to start taking those baby steps again. You also received trust in the magic. Okay, I was like, I swear there was another card if you saw me searching. Trust, so you received, again, surrender to like a higher being. If you aren't really that spiritual and you're not really into all of that, it could indicate like surrender to the unknown, or surrender to having faith in yourself and believing in your ability to get things accomplished. But it says like trust in the magic, which, you know, if you're a witch, maybe it's talking about actual magic. But if you're not, it's telling you to like trust in the universe, to trust in yourself, to trust in the unknown, and that, you know, things can work out, and to not be such a control freak about it. And then you also received life stings sometimes. So again, you receive that, or at least I find I received that during like things that are inevitable, but also it can, you know, it's just a message like, yeah, it sucks, it ended, you didn't want it to end, but ultimately it's an opportunity for a lesson, I should say. And then you received the truth. Bittersweet nightshade. Morning cloak. I like that. It's very interesting that you received the bittersweet. But nightshade is still, you know, a plant that'll kill you. So again, like death, and also it's like bittersweet because something, whenever death comes, you know, it has the flag of the flower. Like that's an opportunity for something new. And you also received a mourning cloak, but it's not mourning as in like the day. It's mourning as in like you're mourning the loss of something. So yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry. But I guess your message is just kind of like, yes, it's okay. Yes, life sucks. You know, it stings sometimes. But use this as an opportunity to grow. And basically like, hey, come back. You still have things that are waiting on you. You know what I mean? So that was your message from Delphin and, you know, the water spirits. Hopefully that was helpful. If it was, please leave a comment below. I know it sounds so clout chasey. I'm not asking for likes. I genuinely want to know if you found this helpful, if there's any parts that resonated. Sometimes it feels like I'm talking to no one. And it just, when I see like that I have a certain amount of views, I'm like, did these people like click off the videos? Like, did they not resonate with it? Like, just anything to let me know, like, hey, you're actually doing something here, that would be helpful. But if not, I guess you don't owe me anything. I'm not doing this for clout, so whatever. Hopefully that was helpful. Good luck on your journey. On to pile number 3. Hello, pile number 3 of you unknowingly selected Mordwin. This is your message. You also received the 2 of diamonds, which we'll get into in a minute. If you're into sacred geometry, maybe this, you know, little sign will mean something to you. I'm not too familiar with it. But anyway, okay, so I am not one to read from the book, and I try my best not to read from the book, but the person who made the this oracle deck, I'm not sure if it was through astral projection or through meditation, but they essentially have like messages, like straight up quotes that they received from these dragon spirits. So I'm just gonna read the quote And even if you don't believe in dragons, again, hopefully the message is still helpful. Yeah, so I'm about to read. And I'm dyslexic, so don't come for me. Mordwin. So his quote says, so basically what Mordwin's purpose is to help you pursue or like fulfill your soul contract. So like, you know, before you incarnate into this earth, you basically agree to a certain amount of things, and he's just trying to make sure that you get back on to whatever you agreed to. And so his message says, you have a job to do, so let's get on with it. You have the tools, the tools and the knowledge that you need. Your self-doubt hinders you. Your time is now, and the world needs to see your light. Step into your heart, and I will take the journey with you. Alrighty. If you are interested in, you know, meditative dragon work, you may consider contacting him, because apparently he genuinely wants to join you. But if you're not, let's just see if the rest of this message resonates. So you received, you are the best thing to ever happen to you. Go easy on your ass. Buy your own damn drink. Okay, so I'm getting the vibe that like you're waiting. You may be waiting for like a romantic partner. You know, like it says buy your own drink. So it's kind of like I don't know. I always get I'm surrounded by a lot of people who are like that too. They kind of just wait for like a romantic partner to show up and fix all their problems. And it's like, well, first off, you're the best thing that happened to you. And second off, you can do all the things that you want to do by yourself. So kind of, this is a message of self-love to me. Believe what you see. Face reality or live in effing la la land. Choose bravely. So, yeah, I like that. I like that they give you like the choice to do, you know, it's not like you're predestined to do this or predestined to that. It's kind of like choose whatever you want to choose, but what's really best for you. And the last one says, you got a feeling you just can't shake. That little voice inside you, listen to it. So, and I haven't seen the rest of the cards yet, but Mordwin himself is about, you know, fulfilling your purpose, fulfilling your contracts. And so it's kind of like, maybe you're getting a feeling of like, you have to do something, but you're kind of just like avoiding it or ignoring it. And he's reminding you, like, get back to that. Is there something sticky on my table? Yikes. Alrighty, sorry about that. Let's look at your tarot cards. Okay, yeah. A lot of self-love issues are happening here. A lot of emotional blockages. You're kind of blocking your intuition, which it's funny here they're telling you like listen to that little voice inside of your head, and with the High Priestess, which is the representation of intuition upside down, it's like you're literally not listening to it. You might be suppressing it or blocking it for whatever reason. It could also be, you know, our intuition is also really tied to our emotions, and I see that you have emotional blockages that you're not really dealing with. And a lot of those emotional blockages seem to stem from self-love, at least with the cards they're in between. This could also be an indication that you're hustling, you know, you're not kind of like seeing results of your work, but we'll address that later if need be. Yeah, this can also indicate like self-care, like maybe you're working too hard and not taking care of yourself. And the Empress in reverse definitely indicates lack of self-care. You know, and maybe that self-care is emotional. Maybe it's like like it says buy your own damn drink, you know. I'm just getting the message of like treat yourself. For some reason you're not doing that, and maybe you over involve yourself in work. The Emperor can be about, you know, hard work. That's also, it's interesting you've got the Empress and the Emperor right next to each other, but the Emperor is upright, so I feel like you kind of, to an extent, have your ish together. He's also the masculine energy, so maybe you know, you're on top of your stuff at work, you're on top of, you know, your work life. Maybe you're a really hard worker, and maybe that's what's causing you to neglect the, you know, self-care side of yourself. But yeah, I just see you like in tune with your masculine side but not in tune with your feminine side. Like there's a part of you that's not being taken care of, and that's like the emotion and the intuition, and you're just kind of like suppressing that for whatever reason. What do you see? Based reality. Okay, so I got called to pick up that card. Kind of. So it says, you know, you can choose to be in La La Land or you can face reality. So maybe like there was something that caused you to ignore your intuition, or maybe there was something that caused you your emotional suppression and you're not ready to face that yet. Sometimes, you know, looking at that dark side that you don't want to look at is part of your self-care. So maybe that's a message for you. The Page of Pentacles is like, every time I see a page, I think baby steps, just like the start of something tangible. So it's kind of like, even if you can't, you know, fully commit yourself to self-care right now, just taking the baby steps to complete that, or like kind of stepping a little bit away from work to focus more on yourself might be beneficial for you. You received beauty and aspiration, so maybe you don't feel beautiful. I know that's like, I don't know, when I say it I feel corny, but it's kind of like the vibe I'm getting for like the feminine sides to be like so suppressed. Sorry if you hear that rustling in the background. Don't know what that's about. Okay, all right. Aspirations. Oh, what is that noise? Oh my god, I'm so sorry if you can hear that. Yeah, so it says step into life, courage to step into life. You got success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. Okay. The frog spirit to clear clutter out, and the turkey spirit to give gratitude and grace. Okay. So the frog spirit is automatically telling you to like clear all that BS out, whatever those blockages are, like you gotta get them out of here. And I feel like a lot of them are caused by the fact that you don't love yourself, or maybe you don't see yourself as beautiful. And the turkey spirit, it says to give with gratitude and grace. So that's like, to me, it's like not only, beauty isn't just, you know, on the outside, basically. Like they're telling you to like, to fully embody like beauty or like self-love. I don't know, you kind of have to step into that graceful attitude, if that makes any sense. And it also says, I know that there is no greater goal than to love. I'm getting love thyself, you know, but also success, whatever it is, like maybe that you're trying to achieve through a career standpoint. I feel like it's blocked by the fact that you don't love yourself. Even if you did receive whatever it is that you're reaching for, like you might end up, you know, with imposter syndrome or something, like feeling like you don't deserve it. I feel like you're not in the right energy to receive whatever it is that you're striving for through a career standpoint. So kind of like fix whatever this is and then you can, you know, fulfill your aspirations and you can get started on that. I also feel like I don't know, when I read this I kind of think of like loving what you do. So if you're not loving what you're doing or what you're reaching for, I don't know, I just kind of get the feeling that like, make sure you're not, okay, let me see if I can find the words, you know, because you don't love yourself or because you don't see yourself as like something beautiful or something, you know, to be loved, it's possible that you're trying to receive a position of power in your career to make up for the fact that you don't feel beautiful or you don't feel worthy of love, and you feel like, well, if I receive this, you know, higher position, maybe people will see me as someone worthy of love. And it's kind of saying like, you can't receive that position until you've learned to love, or like, you know, make sure you're chasing that for the right reasons and not just as a shortcut to not deal with this work, if that makes sense. The courage to step into life. I feel like, you know, you're being told to have courage about whatever it is you don't want to face emotionally. You're being told, you know, like, I don't know, I just, maybe like dress how you want. I know that sounds silly, but like maybe you don't feel beautiful because you haven't been expressing yourself properly, like ignoring your intuition also. So it's just kind of like finding the courage to go after what you want and to deal with whatever these emotional internal issues are. And yeah, I feel like that'll be helpful for you. I'm not sure if there are any more additional messages to that. Yeah. I hope that was helpful, group number 3. Sorry I'm so awkward at ending readings. If it did resonate, please leave a comment. It's not even for clout chasing purposes. I'm not like trying to boost my ratings or anything. I just genuinely, sometimes I feel like I'm not talking to anyone. Sometimes I feel like, you know, the likes will always be less than the views. But sometimes I'm like, okay, so like, if I have 3 likes and 20 people watch the video, does that mean like, you know, 17 people didn't resonate with the message? Like, sometimes they do and they just don't interact with the video, but like, it really helps me personally, just knowing that like, 1, I'm not just talking to nobody, and 2, that like my messages are actually helpful on self-reflection, you know, and like growth. Because like, I don't want to clout chase is all I'm saying, you know. So I hope these are actually helpful messages, and if so, please let me know. Thank you. I hope you find, you know, success in your career and in your emotional life. Bye, group number 3.